In this reading, we are going to be going into what is coming your way during this upcoming Lionsgate. So for those of you who don't know, Lionsgate is a portal that is going to occur, a high celestial portal time that's going to occur on August 8th. So I wanted to do a reading for this. This is a general reading. So as usual, take what resonates and leave the rest. If you want a personal reading, you can always hit me up. So we have here pile number 1. It's also in front of this pyrite piece. And this piece is actually a piece that I found near the Queen's Pyramid in Egypt, in Cairo area. We have here pile 2, or the satellite piece. And we have here pile 3, or this piece that I found near the Saqqara pyramids, also in Egypt, okay? So I really feel that in general, there's going to be a lot of portal energy that's dealing with the ancient Egyptian culture coming through. So it could be in a general sense that those of you that have Kemetic or Egyptian DNA and ancestry may find that area activated during this high portal time. Could also be that a lot of Syrian, and I really am specifically hearing Syrian and Isis energy coming through. So a lot of divine feminine linked to Kemet or Egypt, and also Sirius is what I'm getting, more so than Orion, but there also might be some Orion vibes coming through, but I'm really getting Sirius super strong. So I wanted to say that first off, okay? Now, whichever pile you're drawn to will be the pile that more than likely has your message. If you feel drawn to more than one pile, then definitely check out multiple piles. If you don't feel drawn to either, then this message just isn't for you at this time. So that is okay. I'm going to give you a minute to meditate and choose the right pile. And then we're going to move on to pile 1. So for those of you who chose pile 1, or what I call the Queen's Pyramid, and the pyrite in front, this is your reading. Okay, pile 1, so this is your spread. You've chosen the contemplation card. Silence, knowing, releasing, control. Forgetting oneself is, and this one, by the way, is from my Magical Dimensions deck. This is from my Dark Mirror decks. This has to do with the shadow aspect or shadow work. So we have forgetting oneself. And then from my Dragon Path deck, we have Lord Cthulhu and transformation. From my Angels and Ancestors Oracle card, we have the Hermit card, retreat and recharge. And then from my Beyond Lemuria deck, we have Earth, nurture nature. So I'm going to go ahead and tune into these energies and give you the message. So a lot of you have been forgetting yourself. You've been caught up in the daily grind. I feel like a lot of you, it's been like having to do with ambitions, or maybe just being overwhelmed by like children, family responsibilities. Some of you have been caught up in a lot of the currents of the different spiritual groups, not really knowing where you fit in all of it. Maybe even trying to take on aspects of spiritual principles or programs that actually have nothing to do with who you are or why you're here. And so here you can see this mask, but it's like a partial mask. So he hasn't completely forgotten who he is, but he's sort of gotten distracted and he's focused on these things. So as far as shadow work is concerned, for my pile 1, you guys definitely need to journey into your underworld and think about what you are neglecting about yourself, what masks you've taken on that don't belong to you, and shed that and reintegrate forgotten parts of yourself that you've repressed for various reasons, okay? This Lionsgate portal time is all about inner journeying for you, pile 1. We have here the contemplation card and the hermit card. So we also have the transformation and Lord Kuthumi card. So some of you have been feeling like you're kind of in this hanged man point. And it's because you're not surrendering. Like it says here, release control. You're not surrendering. You're refusing to surrender, and you're playing the martyr for some of you because you feel like, well, how am I going to do this? I don't have time. And if I don't do it, who is going to do it? And I have these responsibilities and this side to focus on. And I'm the only one that can do this. That's kind of the energy that's coming through for some of you. So in order for you to transform and move to the next stage, you have to first relinquish control. And you also have to release the mask that you've been wearing. And you don't want the hanged man to turn into the tower. You know, I mean, the tower is not anything quote unquote bad. But if you can release willingly, if you can make that sacrifice, right, that act of surrender, there's no need for a tower. And then you invert that hanged man archetype energy. Okay. And you welcome these currents of transformation in the process. So transformation is coming for you, pile 1, during the Lion's Gate, but you have to release what no longer serves you. You have to surrender control, and you have to be willing to go within and look at yourself honestly. Once you do that, then you come into your power. A lot of you claim to be light workers and grid workers, but you're neglecting doing the inner work. How can you profess to be a healer or light worker if you still have things that you're not addressing about yourself, or you're still grasping on to things that are not you, or neglecting your own authentic soul expression? And again, I'm not saying that every part of this message is for everybody that chose this pile. Take what resonates, leave the rest. But that's like the dominant energy coming through. It's kind of this loving, maternal energy coming through for, you know, children is kind of what I'm getting. And I don't mean that like in a disrespectful way. I just mean that Mother Earth, you're worried about nurturing her. And she's saying you need to first nurture yourself. Yes, you are, you know, my child. Yes, you are here to, you know, help me and help the beings that are incarnated at this time, at this level. But before you can help others, you have to help yourself. You have to do that inner work. You cannot neglect yourself. You have to have that strong foundation. You have to know who you are, and you can't pour from an empty cup. Then you will be a more powerful grid worker. I'm getting for some of you a lot of rainbow energy wanting to come through, or you may have a lot of chameleon-like energy where you're always taking on or reflecting energy of those around you because it's part of your gift to do that. But you have to still know at the core center who you are and what you're here to do, and not lose sight of that. So that's the message I have for you, pile 1. If you feel drawn to any other piles, definitely check them out. This is going to be a powerful opportunity for you guys to grow and to really come into the fullness of your power and your mission. But you have to surrender, and you have to be willing to go within. If you do that, it's going to be a whole nother level. So I hope this reading resonated with you. I would like to take a moment to tell you, definitely check out the end of this video, because I am offering a shamanic seminar, webinar, however you want to say it, where I'm going to actually be leading people into journeying with them, taking them on a journey for 3 days in a row leading up to the Lion's Gate. I'm also going to be offering a cacao heart ceremony, a healing heart ceremony on August 8th. So definitely stay tuned for the end of this video. I'm going to talk about that. So I recommend that if you picked this pile, this is definitely going to be something that you're going to want to tune into, because I'm going to be doing a lot of what I talked about in this pile during those webinars and ceremonies. And I didn't know what was in this pile before I spread out the cards. So definitely divinely inspired. So with that, thank you so much, pile 1. And I'm now going to move on to pile 2. Hi, those of you who chose pile 2 or the sodalite with the citrine sphere in the front, this is your reading. All right, pile 2. So this is the cards that you were drawn to. So we have here for this first card from my Beyond Lemuria deck, Gracious Receptivity. We have here from my Angels and Ancestors Oracle card deck, Autumn, Release the Old and Rest. And then here from my Dragon Path deck, we have the Healer. From my Dark Mirror deck, we have Anger and Chains. And from my Magical Dimensions deck, we have Manifestation, Prosperity, Fortune, Pure Intentions. All right, so let me just go ahead and tune in these energies and channel what's coming through. I'm getting a lot of Lemurian energy actually for this pile. So I feel like many of you who chose this pile are actually either Lemurian earth seeds, or you at least incarnated in Lemuria as your first incarnation on Earth. Many of you will be activating either, completely new or more advanced Lemurian DNA. This particular Lion's Gate is what I'm getting. And you need to just receive this with gratitude. There's nothing you have to do. You may also see actually a lot of blue or purple energy coming through during the Lion's Gate. This is linked to Sirius too, I want to mention. So some of you might also be Sirian starseeds, or might have prominent incarnations in Sirius, or have a Sirius Lemurian connection. In other words, you have connection to both races, okay? You might be seeing butterflies or hummingbirds around this time, and this is also further confirmation of everything I was saying, but this is the DNA that I feel is going to be activated during this Lion's Gate portal. And I'm going to go into what this brings a little bit more on in the reading, but I also want to touch on some other things that are going on, okay? So for you guys, this is really just about sitting back and receiving the downloads is what I'm getting. All you have to do is release the old. Okay, receive. There's a lot of avian energy coming through, like really strong. So you might also be seeing crows or ravens, I want to add as well. This is like a period of transformation, but it's like passive transformation. In other words, I feel like for a lot of you that chose this pile, you might be in a lot of masculine energy right now, or you might have been in a masculine energy. You might be very masculine soul, whether you are in a male body or a female body, it doesn't matter. And you've been kind of pushing, when actually what you need to be doing is releasing. And the releasing is actually what's going to bring in the current. I'm actually seeing it almost like a tidal wave. Like you have been trying to manifest and align, but all you have to do is sort of sit back and let go. That's what I've been getting. It's like you're the one holding the flood back. You're the one holding that prosperity back. You're the one holding those new light codes and energy currents back. Okay, so once you release, that's actually when everything that's supposed to come in is going to come in. Okay, I'm also getting that a lot of you are healers. So this is like, I'm getting some of you have like apothecaries, because I'm getting a lot of green kind of witchy energy, apothecary energy, druidic. Some of you might have druidic past lives in Avalon. Still Lemuria coming through really strong here. I'm also getting that a lot of you might be good with herbs. And I think for some of you, you actually need to be healing with herbs right now, like yourself. Like some of you have some imbalances in your physical and energy bodies that need to be addressed with healing. Okay. But you are the healers. So if it's not plant-based healing, you know, or dietary, or providing holistic guidance in that area, you may be like a masseuse, you may be a psychologist, you may be a counselor, a life coach, an energy worker, a healer, a shaman, things of that nature. This is definitely like, those of you who chose this pile are definitely healers, okay, one way or the other. Now, here's another thing that you guys have going on, okay? Anger and chains. This is what's in the shadow. This is also what needs to be addressed. You have to find out what pisses you off. Now, there's a twofold message to this. So some of you have been repressing what makes you angry into the shadow, okay? And you have to face that, address it, and release it. Others of you, you actually have been chaining up your anger when you really should be channeling it, using your anger to kind of channel as raw power, okay? Now, I don't mean in a sense to where you are doing it in like this way that's like harmful to others, but it's kind of like just knowing when to unleash, because that's really what this pile feels like to me. And it's funny, if you were also drawn to pile 1, I recommend checking out that pile as well, because there is a message of release in both piles. And I haven't seen pile 3 yet, but in the last 2 piles, there's definitely a message of releasing going on, but there's just some differences. So if you did feel drawn to that pile, definitely check it out. But whether you're using anger to channel, or whether you want to just release it all together, okay, and sort of forgive, either way, you can't be chained by your anger or chain your anger, okay? You have to face this. You have to deal with this, okay? And you don't want to be controlled by it, and you don't want to repress it. So that's the message for that. Now, this is interesting because this is piggybacking right off of what I was saying earlier about you are stopping your own abundance by trying too hard. You need to step back in feminine energy. You've been too masculine. And the path to you getting abundance is actually being more in a receptive vessel at this point in time. Okay, you've already sown a bunch of seeds. You've already done a lot of work. You have to get out of this mentality that you just have to keep drudging through like a machine, you know, pushing your willpower. It's like you're the strength card, pile 2. You're that type of archetype. And, you know, there's a time and a place. And now is not the time to be that archetype. Now is the time to sit back and receive. Now is the time to be in your feminine energy. Okay? Because prosperity and fortune is coming. But another part to this is your intentions have to be pure. Now, there's also a two-sided meaning to that as well. Pure according to yourself. You have to be authentic. See, people hear pure intentions and I think, oh, I have to have this pure, glowing white heart. No, that's not what this is talking about. This is talking about you having pure intentions of why you're doing what you're doing. Are you just wanting to make money, or do you passionately love what you're doing? Are you doing this because you honestly want to heal and help people, or are you doing this because you're afraid of money or you want more money? You have to honestly assess that about yourself. What are your intentions? Because your intentions need to be pure. You need to be doing it because you want to do it, and because you're passionate about it, and because you feel that sense of this is my mission, this is my purpose, not because you're like, okay, well, you know, I have to pay my bills, I have to do this, you know, what else will I do? What do I do? You know, or it could even be that you've been, you know, wanting to start a healing business, but you're scared to do it because, you know, of your financial situation. And so your fear and your attitude about money is what's holding you back. Again, you need to be honest and authentic about what you want. And you put that intention out and then just sit back and wait for things to flow. So that's the message that I have for you, pile 2. It is general. So like I said, take what resonates, leave the rest. If you feel drawn to pile 1, definitely check it out. If you don't feel drawn to either pile, then this message just probably isn't for you. And I want to add that At the end of the video, I'm going to be talking about a shamanic webinar that I have coming up and a cacao heart healing ceremony. Both are going to be taking place during the Lionsgate portal. So definitely check that out at the end of this video because you don't want to miss out on this. Pile 2. And thank you. I'm now going to be moving on to pile 3. Hi, pile 3. Those of you who chose this piece from the Saqqara pyramid and this pile, also with this organite, tourmaline, and gold pyramid, this is your reading. Hi, pile 3. Here's the cards you chose. So we have first up from the Magical Dimensions deck, Forgiveness, Redemption, Rebirth, and Regeneration. We have here from the Dark Mirror deck, Envious Gluttony. From the Dragon Path deck, Balance. From the Ancestors and Angels, Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards, we have the Heart Guardian, Love and Let Yourself Be Loved. And then from the Beyond Lemuria card, we have Water, the Overflow. So it's interesting because I've been getting a lot of feminine energy coming through, and even the water metaphor and significance specifically coming through in pile 2. So if you did feel drawn to pile 2, definitely check it out, okay? But this definitely has its own message. This is not too much of an overlap, okay? One thing that is a theme throughout all of these piles so far is this energy of sort of letting go and moving on, okay? Now, in your case, this has to do with forgiveness. You're working on the heart center, this particular Lionsgate portal. And that makes sense because Leo, which is associated with the Lionsgate energy, deals with the heart. And in this case, you guys are supposed to be working on your higher heart chakra, okay? Meaning dealing with like activating the high level of heart energy beyond just the basic sort of, interpersonal connections. This is dealing with loving at a higher dimensional level, loving yourself at a higher dimensional level, and loving the collective at a higher dimensional level, which includes forgiving yourself and others, okay? And I feel like forgiving yourself is a key here because I feel like a lot of you have been like, I've been trying to forgive people, I've been trying to move on, it never works for me. Why? Well, because you first have to learn how to forgive yourself. If you can't even forgive yourself, someone that you've known your whole life intimately, in and out, okay, how can you expect to forgive others? It starts with you. And part of the things that you have not been able to let go of is envy and gluttony. Now, this can be literal, like literal envy and literal gluttony, okay? Like overindulgence energy and wanting more, never being satiated. Like in something specific, dealing with like food or alcohol or drugs or money or just competition. But I'm getting more of an energy of like a general overindulgence to kind of fill this void. You don't feel good enough, pile 3. And you are doing a really good job of hiding it. Because I feel like for most of you, you're actually really good at coming off as though you have it together. And coming off as though you do love yourself and you are confident. But this is actually a facade. And it's a self-deception that runs deep because you really believe at some level that you do love yourself and you are confident. But honestly, you go deep behind that pain. That's not the case. And that's why there's always this, I want more. You really deep down envy other people. And I feel like most of you try not to. You try to be fair and balanced about everything. It's really in your nature. You really believe in that. But you struggle with feeling inferior. And you also struggle with blaming other people for your problems. I'm not saying that's everybody, but that is coming through pretty strong, whether you realize it or not. So in order for you to really move into the fullness of who you are, because you're really supposed to be a heart-centered, balanced person. That's the core aspect of your nature. And a lot of you have gone through things in your lifetime that have been a direct challenge to that have actually made you feel the opposite, that have hardened you or created these layers of superficial masks in order to protect yourself. But this is actually where you're supposed to be. So a lot of times, I'm going to say like 99% of the time actually, we actually incarnate dealing with the opposite type of challenges to what we're supposed to overcome and become. So in other words, those of us who are supposed to be healers will tend to have a lot of health problems in our lifetime. Those of us that are supposed to be like counselors, or life coaches will tend to deal with like a lot of, abuse or negligence, or even like being in foster care, things of that when we're younger. Those of us that become substance abuse counselors probably have dealt with substance abuse. You see what I'm saying? So in order to sort of be this guide and this healer for other people, you yourself have to know what it's like to overcome the opposite. And so instead of being angry and focused on holding on to grudges and feeling like the victim, look at it as training for what you're supposed to become. Because you're not this, you're actually this. But this has become a mask. It's like a cushion for you. Some of you even, I feel like some of you might even have weight problems, like where you might be a little overweight. I'm not saying all of you, but it's actually, it's actually like you've created a padding for yourself to protect yourself from people. And a lot of you grew up with like very critical parents, I'm getting coming through. And so that's part of it. Or they made you feel very performance-based, like you had to perform for them, or you had to be a certain type of way. So there's a lot going on here, especially with childhood. I'm getting for you guys, pile 3, this is about forgiveness of self and others, and sort of moving past the blame game, either blaming yourself or blaming others. And being able to truly love yourself, not in a shallow, superficial level of exerting a lot of confidence and beauty and power, but in a deep, real self-acceptance, authentic level. Because like I said, you guys are supposed to be balanced from the heart, that middle point between those two polarities. Water is something that is actually your source of spiritual power, pile 3, whether you realize it or not. In fact, I feel for a lot of you, you might have a lot of fire energy and a lot of air energy. And I'm also, for those of you that follow the more, Chinese type zodiac, I'm also getting metal coming through too, and wood. So you guys are actually, you may feel like you're not watery people. You might even have a lot of Leo placements I'm getting. I'm also getting some Virgo placements coming through as well. But I feel like you really don't realize how much water is your true spiritual power. I feel like some of you might be like water signs in your Mars placements as well. And I also feel like some of you might even benefit from dealing with Mary Magdalene or that energy current, something similar, like dealing with more of like the feminine aspect of that Christos consciousness. I'm not talking about from a religious standpoint, but more of an esoteric standpoint. Some of you might be drawn to work with like Mother Mary or Mary Magdalene, Santa Muerte, or Pambajira, Oya, or I don't know why Oya was coming through strong for some reason, but also like Yemaya, Oshun, these type of energies coming through, a lot of water. Some of you might feel drawn to deal with like sirens or like Aphrodite energy or Venus energy. So this is where you guys kind of need to be working right now in order to get to this and in order to get past this, is what I'm getting. So yeah, I know this is a little bit of a heavy pile, but you know what? The Lion's Gate is going to bring a lot of deep, deep healing for you guys. And the things that have been holding you back, where you feel like you've been kind of stuck in this continual loop, you're finally going to shake free of that. But it starts with self-forgiveness and forgiveness for others. Okay. So I hope this resonated with you, pile 3. And I also want to mention, stay tuned to the end of the video, which is coming right after this. I'm going to be talking about a shamanic webinar that I have coming up that's going to take place during the Lionsgate and a cacao heart healing ceremony, which would be very beneficial for you guys since you guys are going to be working on the higher heart this Lionsgate. So definitely stay tuned and check it out. And if you're interested, hit me up. All right, pile 3. Thank you. Take care now. Shalom, my lovelies. I wanted to take a minute of your time to talk about some amazing things coming up. So I have the Lionsgate Shamanic Seminar coming up, and this is going to be from Saturday, August 6th to Monday, August 8th. And it's going to be from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. I'm going to be taking you guys on shamanic journeys, 3 per day. This is going to go into the underworld, deal with inner child healing, ancestral work, inner adolescent healing, other types of shadow work integration, soul fragment retrieval, breaking of generational curses, and hell loops. So this is a very amazing, once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing this again. So definitely hit me up if you're interested. Also, the same night of the Lionsgate on August 8th, starting at 10 p.m. to 12 a.m., I'm also going to be doing a cacao heart healing ceremony. So this will also be done live through Zoom, just like the shamanic seminar, but it's going to be more of a ceremony. So you can participate with cacao, or you can just simply be present and participate in the frequency. So definitely reach out to me if you guys are interested in either, and I will send you more information. I'm also going to drop down details in the drop down menu below. I hope to see you there.